Phil Martelli Jr. in the midst of the VCU huddle, as you mentioned, has already made his first big chess move, bringing Hill into the starting five. Going to move Nick Lewis to the bench. This is a coach who, I mean, we're talking about the lineage. His father's in the building, the longtime St. Joe's coach, former head coach at Bryant, knows Jim quite well, knows the A-10 quite well, and he's around running at VCU.
And as you know, with his father, that brain trust that Phil Martelli Jr. has had, I think it's going to pay dividends. His dad's had a lot of battles here in Rose Hill Gym.
No doubt. And Mike Bio takes his seat at the center of the Fordham. Year number one for him. He knows New York City hoops. When we spoke to him, he said, how do you not look up to Phil Martelli, being Phil Martelli Jr.'s dad, for what he did at St. Joe's, recruiting NBA talent, championship win teams to a Catholic school in the Northeast in 10. But he's got a ton of respect for Phil Jr. as he's had a chance to get to know him a bit through their first trudge through the Atlantic 10 together. Let's take a look at the keys to the game. Posadas, how's this game won for Fordham?
Let's start with the team constant paint. Loyola Chicago scored 40 of their 75 points in the paint. They shot 54% from inside the arc. Fordham coming off 48 paint points. They shot 62% from inside the arc against GW. Secondly, control the glass. 3 straight games, VCU has allowed 10 or more offensive rebounds. Fordham, second in the A-10, 26th in the nation, averaging over 40 rebounds per game. As for the visiting team, a track meet tempo first and foremost. VCU's current adjusted tempo, 68.7, the highest 2020-2021 season. They recorded at least 70 possessions in 14 of 22 games. Secondly, second unit surge. Now this might change because Terrence Hill Jr. is now in the starting lineup, but this is still a bench, 4th in the nation, over 38 points per game.
Whitbourne slaps it away from Djokovic. Fordham gets the first touch and possession of the game. Claire Aubrey, Matt Potter, Jeffrey Clark are officials. And Fordham starts with the basketball through a Kerry Jacobs.
And this is a tough, aggressive defense already getting the deal with Evans.
Evans soars to the rim and slams it down.
And in a conversation with Mike McPile, his first concern was dialing up the pressure. VCU guarding full court and guys getting into the passing lanes. This is a team that likes to switch everything. They swarm a very rugged approach to them defensively.
Henry gives to Reeves, leading scorer in the Atlantic 10, about 17 and a half a contest. Jacobs, and now Henry puts up for 10 shots a game. Henry puts his shoulder, got swatted by Djokovic. VCU can run. Jennings to the back and to the line.
Christian Henry is able at 6'3" to use his to muscle his way, get some easy looks, but with Terrence Hill Jr. also 6'3", has the size to match. And how about Djokovic with the rotation, coming over, getting the spot, and this is where VCU's at their best, getting out in transition, pushing the ball, and forcing you to commit fouls so they can get to the free throw line.
Djokovic top 10 in the Atlantic 10 in blocks per game. Jennings at the line, 88% on the year. A sophomore from Richmond, Virginia, chance for him to stay close to home. And a guard who knows VCU's illustrious history of minting professional caliber players at the position. Hit them both. VCU, a quick 4-0 lead.
And a quarter of their points, almost 23%, come from the free throw line. So the ability to be able to stop the clock and put points on the board, it's invaluable.
Pressure coming from VCU. Jacob struggling in the backcourt, 4 seconds to get it over. Henry with 2, with 1, got it over. There's a look at the Fordham starting 5 unchanged. Can Whitbourne provide the physicality necessary inside? A big question coming into this game. You do have plenty of size between Whitbourne and Schulte. Average combined 18 boards a game. Whitbourne flips it up and in.
And this is where Fordham's front court has to impose their will. While they may be long and lanky, they don't have much bricks in the back pocket. So if we're going to go with strength, Fordham's got to be able to use that to their advantage.
The VC starting 5, Hill's first start, 11th lead scorer in the conference, all off the bench. Left that one short. Replaces Nick Lewis, who has started all 22 games this year. Point. Henry drives on Tracy. Ball got knocked away. Carried forward by Jennings. Hill flies to the rim, kicks it back out. Jennings for 3. Not that time. The three-point shooting on the floor for VCU is wild.
They've got 4 guys shooting 35% or better, so really it's pick poison if you're Fordham's defense, whether you want to guard the interior or guard the perimeter.
Schulte ties it, rolling down the lane. So an iffy start for Fordham. Got blocked, turnover at half court to a slam. We're on level pegging now.
And I talked about VCU switching. That's going to allow mismatch. That's something Loyola Chicago was able to take advantage of throughout the first half and built an early 15-point lead in that game.
Evans for 3, that's good. Barry Evans is 30% on the year, the one guy in the starting 5 that's not over 35%.
And that's a 16-made triple, and if he's there in the corner, that's going to be an issue for him, being able to rotate and close out those easy threes.
Whitborn knocked away by Jennings. Lobbed ahead to Evans and stolen by Reeves. Takes Tracy off the dribble. Reeves floats from the lane.
Day Reeves is shooting nearly 50% from inside the three-point line. He does such a great job of knowing when to get to that A10 to the paint and either decide to get all the way downhill or pull up for that mid-range.
Reeves has scored in double figures every game he's played this season. Djokovic was able to sneak that up over Schulte and in.
You know, he only had 7 points in 27 minutes against Loyola Chicago. Miles Rubin was really able to have a way for the moment. You've got to hope that Jack Whitborn can come up with similar success against the smaller Djokovic.
Schulte spots another big in the post. Whitborn will bang inside and kicks it back out. Reeves a triple. High arcing rebound, snagged Djokovic out of the hands of Jennings. Hill cross court, Tracy into the corner, Evans. Now Tracy. Rebound Reeves.
You're going to see a lot of 5-out offense from this VCU team, so while they won't be in the paint, they'll still try to crash, but they're looking to play through the perimeter first and foremost before you see those and different movements afterwards.
And look at the switch you were just able to pick up. Reeves, Jacobs. Off the heel, rebound Jennings.
And again, when you do get a favorable switch, it's up to Fordham to get it identified and take advantage.
Djokovic, nice finish past Whitborn. The transfer from Xavier, then the College of Charleston, and now a top 15 scorer in the A10 at VCU.
Just completely different mindset. Went 2 of 9 against Loyola Chicago. He's made his first 2 shots, and he's been aggressive knowing that he's got to guard the bigger Whitborn.
Second most free throws made and attempted in the Atlantic 10. Djokovic will get his. Schulte. Evans snatches the board. 5 minutes gone in the first half. We played about 3 uninterrupted minutes. Jennings back to Hill. Drives on Reeves. Whitborn got a piece. Still 10 to shoot. Jennings against Henry. Muscled it up. Jacobs cleans the glass.
And you made a note of these being uninterrupted, no stoppage. You want that favors VCU. They have such great conditioning. It's just a while before they're able to wear down their opponents. Christian Henry here looks like he'll be called for the offensive foul. Push off.
So Henry picks up Fordham's second team foul. And an elongated run of about 4 minutes without a stoppage sends us to the media. VCU up by 5 early in the first.
Step back. Got it. Fordham knocks off VCU 69-67. Antoine Anderson.
The only Fordham win against VCU, this meeting number 17 all time since VCU in the Atlantic 10 dating back to 2015. VCU took the win when these teams met just over a year ago, and that Fordham win saw 22 from Devontae Hawkins, Tooney, the Antoine Anderson winner, of course, and Sangfelder, all in double figures. Turns out that was the high water mark of the Neubauer era for Fordham, and for VCU, they did turn around and make the tournament that year, to be fair.
And you had a great seat working PA for that game. That was my freshman year at Fordham, so I'm pretty sure I had an assignment, something to do. I wasn't in the gym, but a great spot for that incredible shot by Antoine Anderson. But aside from that, it's been all VCU in this all-series.
You know, I'm quick to say when we see footage that old and that rainy that none of these players were in high school yet. that are born yet, but I mean, the COVID years as they are and the JUCO rulings, for all I know, some of them were freshmen at other schools, but obviously none of them played in that game. Plenty of changes both ways. Comes up top to Tyrell Ward. And Ward dragged that pivot. Triple from Djokovic, good measure, but obviously not going to. Fordham does for a core. And Abbas Badija in off the bench. That's athleticism that they've added to that front line.
Yeah, Mike McPile wanted to start with more size in Jack Horn and Akira Jacobs, but now you match this athleticism, match this length, and Orr and Bodija both fit the bill for a matchup like this. VCU
has won their last 5 games since dropping back-to-back contests with Slew, who looked like a real in the A-10, and George Mason. That's a foul on Ahmad Noel.
And on that possession, we didn't see VCU switch off on Day Reeves, so I'm wondering if Phil Martelli is going to make a concerted effort. You can switch off everything else, but I don't want you to switch off either Reeves or Henry.
Henry curls around the high screen from Schultz to Reeves. Henry off the mark and will run out.
And those aren't the three-point shots Mike McPile is looking for. He's told us in the past this team shoots a better percentage when they touch the paint first and they spray the ball out for open threes. When they're just working the perimeter and settling for three-point shots, that's when they're out there offensively.
349th in the country this year shooting threes, 29%. But there are better shots to be taken, and Bell found a decent one in the paint for VCU.
And that was a problem GW had. After a while, when they got to the middle of the paint, the free throw line, they just didn't want to take those mid-range jumpers. But Bell's been nearly double figures during 10 play. He's been confident shooting well over 50%. He's capable of knocking down that line jumper.
Bounces underneath, Bodija. That got played with and carried forward by Hill. It's 4 minutes without a point for Fordham. Djokovic, offensive foul. Or a double fault, as it may be.
There's the athleticism of Aurora Core being able to run the floor and set up. Djokovic out of control, trying to take advantage in transition, but Core sets up, keeps his feet on the ground. Charge, heady play, and for Mike McPile, he's talked about this. If the offense can't get things going, they've got to create energy somewhere else, and the best way to do that is with defensive play, allow that to carry over into offense.
Hill and Djokovic take each end, and Evans come in. Henry for the first time. Louis Lesmond in off the bench for the Rams.
And a lot less ball handling with Lesmond at the 2. Day Reeves will be the primary ball handler until Christian Henry comes back.
Reeves cutting to the basket. Motors in for 2.
And he's got such a first step and so forces you to hesitate because you don't know whether it's a mid-range or whether he's going to get to the rim.
Noel was able to keep left foot down. Try a triple and knock it down. Noel from downtown, his first points, 43% three-point shooter. 2/3 of his attempts are from beyond the arc.
And again, it feels like 9 or 10 guys are all capable three-point shooters, which just stretches your defense so thin because you don't know who to pick out and off the line.
Lesmond, not that time. Back up by Schultz, runs out of bounds. It belongs to Fordham. The Rams are 0-4 from downtown at this point. They went 1 for 15 from the arc in the first half in a win at George Washington over the weekend. Ended up going over 50% from downtown second half, which, of course, a major key, picking up their best win of the season. Bodija got the interior on L.
And that's what you want to see from Abbas, being able to use his footwork in that to dislodge his defender. Go up. That's a good balance play from the baseline.
Evans able to collect again. Had it knocked away initially. Noel back to Evans underneath. Knocked away for Bell. And a timeout on the floor. VCU starting to knock down some threes. Evans, Noel, but Bodija getting inside.
It's a good move on the baseline. Gets in. Fordham's going to need a lot more of that. They're down 6 here in the first half.
The mighty Atlantic 10 on ESPN Plus. Fordham 12-10 on the year. 2 of their 3 A-10 wins coming in the last games. VCU sits third in the Atlantic 10 Conference. They've won 5 straight in the conference. So let's put this in a measure of perspective. If Fordham does find a win today, it will be the 9th time in over 30 years that the Rams have ripped 3 or more conference wins in a row. They've won just under 27% of their A-10 games joining the conference. VCU just over a dozen seasons. They've 25 different times, including this current 5-game stretch.
And it's just context. VCU, ever since they joined from the Colonial, they've been off and running, and it's been success after success. And for Fordham, it's been few and far between. The last we can remember that 22-23 real, but again, it's been few and far between in terms of winning seasons and the great teams that we here at Fordham.
You know, and you look at Phil Martelli Jr., it's a big ask to come in and try and maintain the standard of a program, and they've been able to do it. Will Wade and Rhodes, and you can go right down the list. Of course, Ryan Odom leaving for Virginia after last season, opening the door to Martelli to make the move. Every single coach since Shaka has made the NCAA tournament in the first 2 years at the helm at VCU. That's the standard. Ball tipped out on the rebound. Jennings. Schulte forced him to readjust. Ball got pulled back in by VCU. Bell knocked out of bounds.
And something VCU does incredibly well, when you grab a defensive rebound, there's no clear path to put that ball down. I see good defense by Schulte to get that block. Might have got away with some contact there, but right here, you see Ward and Bell rush Day Reeves the moment he thinks he can put that ball down on the floor and forces a turnover, what could have been a turnover.
Noel pestered by Lesmond. Evans pulls the trigger. In by Reeves. 6-point game here in the Bronx. Reeves and Jennings tossed into the post, cross court. Ball pops it into the sideline, and a trio VCU substitutes brings their starting lineup essentially back onto the floor.
For Mike McPile, it's about finding ways to get touches on the low block. Right there, you see back screen from Lesmond to try and set up Odija, but great denial, though, by the VCU defense.
Schulte offers the screen. Reeves fades away to the free throw line and hits at the horn.
If you're Lazar Djokovic, you have to come over quicker than that. You know Day Reeves is in the mid-range game. You're right there on the opposite elbow. You've got to come over harder and close out.
Evans spins and got as friendly a roll as the Bronx can provide.
And with Schulte playing drop coverage, Barry Evans has about 3 or 4 steps to decide what he wants to do with the ball. So you're giving him that momentum to get to the rim. And I think if you're Schulte, you've got to step up a couple of feet to at least keep Evans honest and not allow him a direct line to the basket.
Rikus Schulte turns and swats it in.
And you've also got to make Barry Evans work on the other end. If he's going to try and outwork you offensively, you've got to attack him in the paint as well.
Evans has 7 to VCU. Reeves has 6, Schulte 4 for Fordham. Djokovic turns, fires, drops. Give him half a dozen.
Again, 2 different approaches in the paint for Djokovic. Uses that shot fake to get Schulte to react late, and from there able to use that turnaround hook shot.
And the goal for Fordham coming in, Djokovic, very adept three-point shooter. Keep him out of the paint has been the goal. Reeves, float game not nearly strong. Offensive rebound, Bodija rolls out. Evans knocks it down and starts it the other way for VCU. Evans kick, Hill for 3. Schulte snatches the rebound, his second.
And that's what makes VCU so dangerous. 4 of their 5 guys on the court have a good enough handle, start transition, and get out on the break. It's just so dangerous because you don't know who's going to bring it up, and it's hard to stop the ball once it does get past midcourt. And Barry Evans just so versatile with that length.
Reed to the corner, Rora Core glances off the front rim, and the run out is on, up to Tracy. Tracy goes splaying out into the cheerleaders.
I think Day Reeves used all of his maximum vert there to get a hand on that. Good job by Reeves to get back on defense. See here another look as Barry Evans tries for that outlet pass, but Day Reeves, he might have jumped 4 Might have been a 42-inch vert there from Day, but getting just enough and forcing that turnover. Now, VCU, they'll counter, and they'll throw some pressure the Rams' way once again.
Lesmond still in the game, which means, again, Fordham at a bit of a deficit in terms of a ball handler. They want either Henry or Reeves on the floor at all times. Henry came in. Reeves took a seat. Marcus Green waits to enter for Fordham in a moment. No problem with the full court pressure off the inbound. 8.5 to play in the opening half. Henry tried to get downhill. Got stepped off, throws into Whitbourne. Whitbourne fell out. Evans pops it ahead. Tracy through the lane, got swatted, got fouled.
Barry Evans makes a nice block on one end, and VCU able to run the floor. We'll see. It looks like that's on Rora Core from behind, trying to chase down Tracy on the block.
He is tagged with the personal, his first. Adrian Tracy, line, 6th-year player, redshirted as a sophomore at St. Joe's. He also took a JUCO year, which, of course, the legality of eligibility around JUCOs has certainly come under the NCAA microscope over the last year or so.
With his experience, Tracy's just a well-rounded guard, and he's known for his playmaking ability. He can score on the inside, but a very adept passer as well, able to facilitate and distribute when needed.
Last couple of years for Tracy at Oregon. Before that was at Florida Southwestern, close to home. He's from the Gulf Coast of Florida and Fort Myers. Splits the pair, 7-point game. VCU is led by as many as 8. Jacobs throwing an elbow. Free up Henry. No playing defense. Dan Hurley with love. Henry off kilter as he went up and heads to the free throw line.
Christian Henry just feeling out the body of his defender and able to force that shooting foul. Fordham will get free throws. Still down by 7 points here at the 8-minute mark. More work to do for the Rams, but Henry will start it at the championship stripe.
For Fordham, and this VCU program feels very much like a family affair. Phil Martelli Jr. in his first year at the helm. Of his father was an A-10 legend head coach for St. Joseph's Philadelphia. 444 wins, 18 wins in the postseason. The Jameer Nelson and Phil Martelli Jr. squad of 2004 helped him earn the National Coach of the Year. He actually is doing TV now after Michigan. He called Fordham's win against Seton Hall last year. That was his TV debut with Fox Sports.
And he's someone who knows Rose Hill Gym in and out over the last 2 decades. And in that previous picture, if anybody was watching, there was someone in a black A-10 polo. That was a young Mike Watts doing PA for that game.
I was looking up to him. Pretty much every coach in the Atlantic 10 has for the last 30 or so years. Worth noting also, Phil Martelli and Frank McLaughlin, the longtime Fordham AD, whose name is on the court here in Rose Hill, received the Joe Lapchick Character Award from the New York Athletic Club at the same time in September of last year. So wishing Phil all the best with what he's doing with Fox Sports. He's been to every game but about 2 is the estimate we got from the SID at VCU. Went with them down to the Bahamas. Has certainly enjoyed watching his 2 sons. One is the head coach, one the associate head coach. Take VCU on their first spin through the A-10. Henry at the line.
And you've got to think, just like any parent, it's one thing for Phil Sr. to be the coach on the sidelines, but when you're watching in the crowd and watching 2 sons on the bench, that's just got to drive a parent crazy because you have no control. If you're Phil Sr., you've got to let your son go out there and try and work things out. So I think there's a dynamic there where you don't want to yell too much. You don't want to get in their ears. You want them to work things out, and you trust that they can get the job done.
I look at Phil Jr. and Jimmy, and I think spitting image fell right off the same tree. Whoa! Brandon Jennings elevates.
And he's one of multiple VCU players who have verticals over 40 inches. These guys can play above the rim, even though they're a top 5 3-point shooting team. It's a great balance on all 3 levels from this up-tempo offense.
Oh. You need a good rebound to get up like that and have the putback slam, but there's an athleticism that's required. Not many possess. Whitbourne goes up for the rebound, but Hill able to yank it down off the miss by Roar Akor. Kick out to Hill, who earned his first start of this season for VCU. Tracy, he had eyes on a highlight that would live in infamy. Instead, he'll head to the free throw line, and Akor draws the foul.
Try to put Roar Akor on a poster, but on the previous possession following the corner 3 miss by Tracy. How about Jennings skying in? Look, Ma, 2 hands. Give me that putback, and VCU now up by 7.
So Tracy is back to the free throw line. He's an earlier pair. It was Billy Lang who was his head coach at St. Joe's, by the way. Tracy pulls that one down. He's a 71% free throw shooter this year. Akor has to sit. He picked up 2 fouls. And Mon comes back in for Fordham. Got them both. And this, the biggest lead Virginia Commonwealth thus far. They're up by 9.
And right on point. After every make, they're going to go right into this full-court press. And with Louis Lesmond there in the back, he's going to have to handle that from Jadrian Tracy.
VCU 50% from the field. Fordham just 7 of 22. They've managed to get 4 more shots to this point, forcing 5 VCU turnovers. Jacobs. A little hop step in the lane, nothing to it. Green, 3 to shoot. Jacobs heaves. That did draw the rim and tip back out by Green. Back over to Jacobs, gets inside. Whitbourne gives it back up, not once, not twice. Whitbourne again, turns, got fouled. 2 tips from Jack Whitbourne, didn't go, but he stuck with it. Off double-double at George Washington in 20 minutes, 10 and 12.
And luckily they're able to draw that shooting foul. When you have VCU caught on a scramble, you've got to be able to take advantage. Akira Jacobs doesn't get that layup to go, but good job by Jack Whitbourne keeping that alive with the offensive rebounds and then drawing the foul. Looked like he might have been going up, though, on that previous shot, but they called it on the floor.
Those were Rose Hill-colored glasses that you're wearing, I think.
Maybe, perhaps.
It's the 4th team foul. Each team's got 4. Around Whitbourne, lowers his center of gravity, and shoots up over Jennings, didn't fall. Cold shooting night for Fordham, 27%. Green got a piece. Day Reeves comes in. He's about the only bright scoring light for Fordham to this point. Henry to the bench.
Partner, nobody else aside from Day Reeves has more than 1 made basket. I want to credit VCU's defense. Their shot blocking, aside from them not being the bigger front court, they've 4 blocks. They average 4 blocks for the season. So even though they're not the bigger front court, their bigs have made their presence felt as shot blockers more than we've seen from Fordham so far.
And they're +4 on the board, so Fordham will miss a number of 3-point shots, and they get a lot of offensive rebounds off. Not the case tonight. Reeves trying to change the momentum a bit. Evans Ward back at the last stop for VCU. Whitbourne got inside. That fell off the rim. Well defended by Bell, who did all he could despite the height disadvantage.
And those are those instances of flow where you don't get in transition, so you go out to the half court. Jack Whitbourne gets a look at the rim, just finish.
Jennings drops off, and off the window, Tyrell Ward. And Fordham will take time as the lead is stretched to 11 for the Richmond Rams.
In this second unit, they're up to 7 points, and someone like Ward, at his size, he just creates so many mismatches, and against smaller Marcus Green, he's able to baseline for an easy layup, and they've just got guys who are 6'5", 6'6", and depending on how you want to attack them as a defense, you can be in trouble off miss And right there, Marcus really just doesn't have the height to deal with what Ward do as a driver.
Yeah. Coaches have nightmares about the different options VCU possesses. And look, you mentioned the number of bench points. This is the 4th best in the country VCU squad at getting points from their bench. But you move Hill, who averages 15, into the lineup for the first time. So how do you get the same from your bench when you a guy who'd start on every team in the conference, give or take a couple, move him into your starting lineup instead of leading your second unit and playing starter minutes from a bench capacity? Hasn't been a big problem yet.
It hasn't, and for Phil Martelli Jr., he can also switch the rotations where Terrence Hill Jr. gets some run with the second unit guys. Even though he started, he can still be in multiple lineups, and his three-point shooting allows you to space the floor and stretch out this Fordham defense.
He's played a team-high 13 minutes. Reeves. Jump shot didn't go. Schulte got hit. And the foul goes on Jennings. Not that Brandon Jennings.
Oh, not the Brandon Jennings who used to play for the Milwaukee Bucks. And then one thought he'd beat LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. Do you remember that? Then they got swept.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Huh.
That's what he's most for me.
Henry curls, throws in to Schulte, got swatted out by Keyshawn Mitchell, transferred in for Bryant alongside the head coach Martelli. 3 is on the way and good. Tyrell Ward.
Both Evans and Mitchell came over with Martelli Jr. from Bryant, and for Keyshawn Mitchell at 6'11", he has size. For matchups like these against bigger front courts, that's where you bring him in off the bench.
Reeves couldn't respond. Mitchell pulls in the board. 14 game all of a sudden. On the drive, the kick up top. Henry stole it and gives off Reeves. Reeves just did get it in with Jennings pursuing.
And for Fordham, it's a thin margin of error when you want to be selective in terms of pushing the pace and going tempo to match VCU. They want to stay methodical on half court for the most part. Turnover, they want to go out on the run.
Mitchell for 3. That'll hit up off the shot clock, and Fordham heads into the media timeout. One of their 13 from the field. And VCU a 9-2 run to 30-18 lead late in the first half. VCU looking for their 6th straight win and doing it in style.
They made 3 threes in the first half right there from the corner. Good pass by Evans to find Ward. VCU up by 12.
Atlantic 10 basketball coming to you from the Bronx. Midweek game, VCU up by 12. And this was in that 4 to 6 point range for a little while, Andrew. And now VCU stretched it out. 14, now it's 12. The next 4 minutes, they could either push this out toward 20.
They've controlled scores. They're +5. Even though they have 7 turnovers, so 4, they've been able to turn them over. It's just a matter of, for Fordham, can they convert? They've got 6 points off turnovers, but if you're going to get mistakes from VCU, you have to make them pay. You have to capitalize. So for Fordham, can they be more disruptive defensively? But that might force you to play a little bit more faster than you want, which plays into the hands of VCU. So it's almost a double-edged sword for Mike McPaio, because being down double digits against an up-tempo team forces you to have to speed up your play too, because now you need those extra possessions if you want to come back into this game.
VCU coming off a 14-point win in which they were tied at 46 at halftime with Loyola. Got 51 points from their bench, including Hill dropping a career-high 24. Sluggish by their own admission last time out, and they've certainly shaken off the cobwebs since. Reeves goes to work here for Fordham. He's got 8. Henry way off, and the tip out goes to Jennings.
And something I'm noticing, he was blowing up all of Fordham's off-ball and on-ball screening action. They're not allowing the half-court offense, allowing the sets to play out as they would. Everything's being disrupted, and it's forcing Fordham to play a little bit more ISO that they want. There's Christian Henry here, called for the foul, but he's contested. He got grabbed on the arm before that ball went out. Looks like Mike McPaio, he's making the motion. You're going to challenge this.
And if you're Mike McPaio, I don't know that there's an argument that you can actually make about this. I'm pretty sure that's what Matt Potter's explaining right now.
Get another look. Bodija comes over to stunt and recover, and Christian Henry just trying to hound Hill. But you can see Hill, that's number 2. But Hill, you can see, given as good as he's getting, Henry has a bit of a case there. Hill grabbing that arm, but again, not in the vantage point of the official. And now Henry's got to sit down with foul trouble.
That is the 5th Fordham foul, so they still have to give here with 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Hill has to fade away into Mitchell. Offensive foul. Railed into Jacobs.
And just unnecessary by Keyshawn Mitchell here. Off the dribble handoff. Ward has a step on Jacobs anyway. You don't have to finish that pick with any more force. Right there, that's a turnover. That's number 8 for VCU on what could have been an easy pull-up mid-range shot from Ward if Mitchell would have just slipped after setting the initial screen.
Yeah, but can I say it wouldn't really be VCU if they didn't finish this?
Again, the 3 I keep seeing with this team: athletic, versatile, rugged. Those are 3 great qualities that you want in your team if you're going to do big things in a season.
Reeves. A block by Michael Bell. Sounded like a volleyball spike. Hill, the mismatch on Jacobs. Djokovic straight away. Got shoulder in the air. Elevates, rebounds Mon.
And Mike McPile will take that. Djokovic can knock down that 3, but didn't look comfortable at the top of the key. Decided to put the ball down on the floor instead and got nothing.
Fordham trying to get back into it. VCU trying to blow it open. And an offensive foul on Reeves, who used his arm to create separation. Looks like he grabbed the shorts.
Yeah, he was hooking the hip area, and we've seen all the veteran guards who are crafty enough to get away with this. But again, the official is right in vantage point for Day-Day Reeves. You want to try and get away with some sort of separation, but you can't do that with the official staring right at you.
Evans turns. Bell follows his own miss. Bodija able to grab it off the floor. Under 2 minutes to go in this opening half. Schulte. Reeves. He is fouled. 7th foul on VCU. Both teams are going to shoot the rest of the way here in this first half. Fordham's going to the line for 1.
The on-ball defense on Day-Day Reeves in the first half, VCU has hounded him off pick and rolls, off dribble handoffs. They're not switching anything, and guys like Brandon Jennings with his size and length really making it difficult for Day-Day to go into that dribble penetration and get to those sweet spots in the mid-range and around the rim.
19 at George Washington in the Fordham win, averaging 19 points a game in conference despite shooting 17% from 3. Misses the front end of a 1-and-1. And Fordham just 1 bucket in their last 15 tries down on that end. Evans high up off the glass past Bodija.
And VCU was just going on a scoreless drought of over 3. So Fordham, an opportune time to cut into this double-digit deficit, and they still find themselves down by 14.
Well, that's a nice working theory, or it was. Reeves getting crafty with it. He's got a lot of black jerseys around him, and he finds Schulte waiting at the base of the ladder.
And that's going to be the strategy. Whenever Day-Day gets that deep in the paint, you're going to send 2, 3. There'll be 3 black jerseys around him. It's up to Reeves, though, to use that playmaking ability, averaging 4 assists during conference play. So he's shown the capability to have vision and find his teammates.
He's got 3 tonight. Bell. Jennings. 7 rebounds for Jennings to go with 4 points and 3 dimes. 3 to shoot. Hill pulls the trigger and hits from downtown. And VCU is going to burn their first time out. And just enough time here that VCU have about a second difference between shot and game clock.
And partner, if I would have told you that Terrence Hill Jr. would have came from the bench into the starting lineup and only had 3 points, but yet VCU still finds themselves up by 15, I think anybody would have told you you were crazy. If they were able to hold Terrence Hill Jr. to just 3 points, this Fordham defense would be very confident. But the one thing that VCU has at their disposal, a lot of teams want one guy who's a Swiss Army knife. VCU has 4 or 5 different guys between Evans, between Jennings, who are Swiss Army knives in the fact that they can score, pass, they can rebound. All of them do a bit of everything so incredibly well. And when you have multiple guys with that Swiss Army knife mentality, it just makes the system of this up-tempo sharing defense and offense, it just makes it that much more smoother.
Hill's first made 3 of the game 17 times this year. He's had multiple three-pointers in a game. You called him a microwave pregame. That's all been off the bench. He, from Portland, Oregon, actually came into contact with VCU through Ryan Odom, the Utah State head coach who ended up at VCU these last couple of years before taking the Virginia job. And they just sort of stayed in contact and ultimately comes cross-country to play in Richmond.
Man, it just wasn't enough space for him last season with Shulga and Bamasil and Zeb Jackson, just not enough minutes to go around. But now that he's gotten his spot in the rotation, he's taken the reins and he hasn't looked back.
Going to let the clock run down. Now Henry starts the action. Bodija stripped, and that will escape the baseline.
Woo. Again, that's VCU's defense being proactive. Again, blowing up another half-court set. Nabas Bodija trying to catch it at the high post, loses it, and it goes off a VCU player last.
And interestingly, they had Price in the game and Reeves out. So Reeves comes back in. Fordham had their best offensive player off the floor on that possession.
And Day-Day's working with 2 fouls, so I think for Mike McPie, want to get him out and avoid that 3rd foul, but now you get a chance here, go defense for offense.
Thrown up toward Jacobs. Jacobs falls in, 2 seconds, got to get it up quick. Noel. Ooh, not a bad effort either. So Fordham does get something right before halftime. But VCU running away in the final 8 minutes or so of this first half.
It's been day and night from what they did in the first half against Loyola Chicago to what they've done here, shooting 52% from the floor, 4 of 10 from 3, and they've already taken 6 free throws. It's been a complete first half offensively for Phil Martelli Jr. and VCU up by 13 at the half.
See how the second half transpires. Take a look at our leading scorers in the opening half. And if you're Fordham, you knew it had to be Day-Day Reeves. Part of your problem right now is that you are 0 from Christian Henry. If there's a Batman, there's no Robin. And if you've got Barry Evans, you feel really good if you're VCU because you haven't really gotten a lot out of Hill to this point, and you're still comfortably ahead.
Yeah, Barry Evans has been huge in terms of the fact that he's getting good matchups against Schulta, against Jacobs, against Bodija. He has the foot speed and he has the handles to take him off the dribble. As for Day-Day Reeves, in this second half, expect VCU to blitz him off pick and rolls and dribble handoffs, send 2, double him, get the ball out of his hands, and I'm sure VCU, they'll take anybody else in a Fordham jersey to try and beat them because nobody else in a Fordham jersey has been as effective as DeJour Reeves has.
Evans spent 2 years at St. Bonaventure and then went to Bryant, was the America East Newcomer of the Year with that side. Ended up losing to Fordham here last year. But Evans looking for his first double-digit scoring game since New Year's Eve against his former club, the Bonnies, and potentially his 8th of the campaign. Well, those are the 2 guys you need to watch, 30 and 2. Henry needs to find a way to get a couple shots to go early here, feel comfortable, and then you want to see just what Reeves can do when he puts on a cape.
And that's where you hope the high screen and rolls, especially for Christian Henry. He loves to get to that mid-range area, as does Day-Day Reeves. So can you get some screen assists to create enough separation? And now for Fordham, defensively, can you play man-to-man? Can you mix up some zone? Can you disrupt the harmony that VCU has built?
Hill from the baseline. Schulta went underneath Djokovic. Djokovic saying, I was shooting. He did not win that argument. By the way, Fordham did make a change to start this second half. They've decided to bring Roar Core into their first five, alongside Henry, Schulte, Jacobs, and Reeves. 14 to shoot, chased off the line. Jennings swings it around to Evans. Evans turns, somehow got it out to Tracy for three. It looked all wrong until it was just right.
I mean, that's what we call offense by accident for Barry Evans. He can do no wrong. Slips, still finds Tracy for that three-ball corner pocket. And VCU now has extended it to 16. And again, this is a good possession. Good job by Akira Jacobs to at least force some baseline. Slips up, but how about the heads-up play? Kicks it out, almost a no-look, but a no-look not by design, but by just sheer force.
It expands VCU's advantage to 16. Henry feigns in the post, comes out to Jacobs. 5 to shoot. Reeves has to go with three. Reeves lost the handle, got it up before the shot clock, but did not draw the rim. And Jimmy Martelli just got off the bench with a roar, the associate head coach for VCU.
The entire bench is hyped. That's their best defensive possession of the game so far. We talked about trying to get Day-Day Reeves and Christian Henry involved. Well, they had mismatches, but you talk about the length, the quickness of Djokovic and also Evans. They're able to guard smaller players with ease. It's just the versatility and what all five defenders can do at one single time to be that positionless, guard multiple players. It's something for Phil Martelli Jr. There's so many options now. You're almost twiddling your thumbs in your hands like a mad scientist coming up with different defensive approaches.
Jacobs with a physical screen to free up Reeves. Schulte orchestrating. Playing some mind games, spins back on Djokovic and able to use the window to his benefit.
And he tells Day-Day Reeves to move away. You vacate one side and create a one-on-one situation where VCU can't bring the double and send help.
Schulte's made all three of his attempts from the field. Hill cuts back inside, lost his footing a bit, spins back in on Henry. Evans back up to Tracy. 10 on the timer. Tracy against Roar Core, floats it up, Core got a piece. They view Roar Core as the best potential NBA prospect on this Fordham team.
And the best part, Mike, he's fearless. That's what you love, his mindset. He was chomping at the bit to get back from that ankle injury, and now that he is back, especially with Jack Whitbourne, this doesn't feel like a good matchup for him at the 5. So now you can put Schulte at the 5, and now with Jacobs at the 4 and Roar Core at the 3, with Jacobs and Core, you have a lot more you can do with those two forwards.
Pretty adaptable pieces, and they really only feel there's 3-4 games this year where they've actually had everybody available in that front court. Reeves got his man in the air and finishes. Barry Evans may have got a piece of him.
And one of the keys for Mike McPile, shot fakes, especially with the shot blockers VCU has. You want to put that ball in the air, get your defender up, and try and get yourself some shooting fouls.
That fell off, stays with VCU. Roar Core from Melbourne, Australia. That has been a pipeline for Mike Magpio at his previous stop at UC Riverside. And the ball stolen by Schulte, carried up by Core. Ball got knocked out of his hands by Hill. Committed the foul on the other end a moment ago, his first. This belongs with Fordham about 3 minutes into this second half.
And VCU right now has gone almost 2.5 minutes without a basket for him, trying to chip into this lead down by 12. Can they cut it into single digits while VCU is still struggling on the other end?
They've led by as many as 16 a few moments ago. Henry gives, Schulte rolls, slap at the backboard. Djokovic didn't impede the ball. Jennings now over to Djokovic. Back up to Tracy. Good find and the finish from Brandon Jennings.
And VCU just lulls you to sleep. You think that's going to be a flash for a dribble handoff at the top of the key, but Jennings has Christian Henry react just a second late. V-cut right to the basket, and Henry gets lost in the mix.
That ain't a flash, that's a flush. Reeves bodied by Jennings, who just picked up his third personal foul.
Got some words there between Day Reeves and Jadrian Tracy afterwards.
Fordham statistically the best defense in the A-10. Now they play the slowest tempo in the Atlantic 10, so numbers can be deceiving, but their defensive analytics do pile up pretty well. They've held VCU to 40. Going down the lane, the putback. Schulte, 4 of 4 from the field, and trying to buoy Fordham's hopes here.
And that's where Fordham has to be more aggressive on the offensive glass. That's 7 offensive rebounds that they've been able to convert. Only 4 second chance points, so they're still leaving points off the table.
Bell, push shot. Schulte got hit from behind by Bell. VCU averaging 84 a game, top 3 in the league. So when I say held to 40, it sounds like sarcasm. But Fordham's going to have the ball in a 12-point game, just over 4 into the half.
And for VCU, up by 12 points here at the under 16 mark. Perry Evans falling down, finds Tracy for 3, and then the backdoor cut by Jennings, the flush.
You know, we used to have a guy in a helmet that everyone was so amped up to be in the student section with. But now, between swimming and water polo and, my goodness, the Rams are fully exposed.
And this is what we saw back in 22-23. The Rose Throw with the shirtless Herd, Fordham helmet guy, one of our dearest friends. But this is the energy you want from the student section, especially in a game that, you know, it's a 12-point deficit, but Fordham still knocking on the door. They could get back into this game, but you're going to need all hands on deck. And luckily for our friends in the aquatics, they've come over and they've brought the energy.
Fordham swimming is headed to A-10s in 2 weeks. Fordham water polo has their eyes on getting back to the National Final Four. The most successful program at Fordham at the moment. And we'll see how VCU's free throw shooting is in the second half. On we go. It's a 12-point VCU lead. They've been in control throughout. Fordham has not led. Rams of VCU have won 5 in a row. Fordham have taken their last 2. Looking for just their 9th 3-game winning streak or longer in A-10 play in over 30 years. Henry on the drive. Henry pushed away by Djokovic. Back over to Bell. Noel, former UConn Husky. That did get tapped by a Fordham player. They can play it in the backcourt. Ward. Here's Noel, the sophomore. In his first year with VCU, Bell against Schulte. Bell drops that in the bucket.
Bell likes to go to that spin move, and as I noted, if Schulte is going to play drop and he's going to be deep in the paint, you're giving 4 or 5 feet to your guard, and you're allowing him to step in and take that space. And for Bell, that's exactly what he wants. He wants to get into contact. He wants to absorb it and finish around the rim.
Reeves for 3. That's good. First made 3 for Fordham tonight. They're 1 of 9 from downtown. Reeves has 13.
And that's been the one weakness for him during conference play, just 17% from distance, but a much-needed 3 and great defense. Good hands by Schulte down low.
Knocked it away from Djokovic. Henry. He wanted something. Instead, it's Jacobs. Djokovic got hammered as he went up for the rebound. And a foul on Fordham, and a core is shaken up. Schulte gets the foul. His second.
Day Reeves getting a good screen by Schulte on the angle. Hill Jr. late to that closeout, and a much-needed triple. That's the first one for Fordham. They are 1 of 9 from downtown.
And we mentioned they were 1 of 15 at Foggy Bottom in the first half and ended up winning the game. They shot over 50% from beyond the arc in the second half, and Reeves 17% from beyond the arc in A-10 play. That was a big one for him too. Noel, let's fly. The putback jam by Barry Evans. Woo! Barry Evans slams it down.
Barry Evans has had multiple highlight plays, and Fordham going to that 2-3 zone, gave up the 3, but nobody boxes out.
The core that got blocked. And Ward wants the throw ahead. It never got there. First double-digit scoring game of the new year for Evans, and the three-pointer from Hill is good. 5 quick, loud points from VCU. And it was down to 11. It's back to a 16-point VCU lead.
All it takes is 1-3 for Terrence Hill Jr. to get hot. All of a sudden, VCU has taken complete control. They're up by 16.
VCU fans accustomed to great basketball. They've been to the NCAA tournament 10 of their 13 years since joining the Atlantic 10 Conference. That amazing run to the Final Four in 2011. Won the Atlantic 10 tournament last year, beat George Mason in the final. Fell in the first round of the big dance against BYU. 16-6 this year, 11-2 at home. To the surprise of nobody, they're in the mix again. And at 52 in the net, SLU is at 16.
Yeah.
They're nationally ranked. The best shot here for a multi-bid Atlantic 10 this year probably runs through VCU and SLU both getting in somehow, some way.
Yeah, the consensus is that St. Louis has enough to get an at-large bid regardless if they win over in Pittsburgh. But a team like VCU, a team like George Mason, if they can put together a couple of wins, now the A-10 gets those multiple bids.
Yeah, if you're VCU, you've got Dayton coming up, their whiteout game on A10 Friday on ESPN2. Friday 10? Whatever the branding is, you get the point.
Yep.
They still play at St. Louis as well. 5 to shoot. Lesmon's got to go. Lesmon fades. Off front rim, offensive rebound, Roricore. He had a wide open lane to go right back to the basket.
And that's the growing pains for a freshman, not knowing they should go right back up. He's looking to find Day Reeves, finding one of the more experienced players to reset. But if you're Roricore, that fearlessness, you got to get after it.
And Reeves has to get after it now. Caught in the restricted area and got slammed by Bell. With only 2 to shoot. Reeves, after Okor got that ball inside, he essentially held it in the low post for 5 seconds, and suddenly you're down to 15 to shoot, and you miss the open lane.
Yeah, it was almost deer in headlights where you don't know you're that wide open, and how about that hard foul by Bell? No easy layups. Send Day Reeves to the line for 2.
Reeves this year, 81%. Graduate student from Syracuse. Well, he grew up in Syracuse. He's a transfer from Iona. Schulte back in. Roricore takes a seat.
And, partner, this VCU offense has been as good as advertised. 50% from the floor, over 40% from 3. But it's their defense. They came in here in the bottom half of the A-10 in opponent points per game, opponent field goal percentage, and opponent three-point percentage. So it isn't the havoc defense that we've known from VCU in the past. But they've got 7 blocks. That's their most since their game against St. Louis in early January. So to have 7 blocks and to hold Fordham to just 32% from the floor, 1 of 10 from 3, this has been a defensive clinic for Phil Martelli Jr. and his Rams.
Djokovic, who just came back in. Tracy rippled the net. Air ball, shot clock stays at 12. Noel got it in. Tracy gets a little closer this time. That time too strong. And Bodija able to wrestle it free.
You know, partner, that's another instance where Barry Evans is able to crash the glass and nobody puts a body to box him out. Luckily, he gets called for the over-the-back foul, but Barry Evans has really had his way in terms of getting on the glass against the Fordham bigs.
Well, Fordham feels a bit of havoc, but ultimately Jacobs gives to Reeves, who crosses the timeline. Fordham having to operate into the shot clock. Schulte is fouled, got bailed out. Fordham's missed a couple bunnies tonight. Not that that makes up a 14-point gap. A couple of free throws coming.
And here's a counter from Fordham's offense. The fake dribble handoff. Enrique Schulte has the handled ability to put that ball down on the floor. And as you noted, misses a wide open bunny, but fortunately gets bailed out and now looks to get 2 at the charity stripe.
Schulte's freshman year at Davidson played in 13 games. Last year was with Mike Magpaio at UC Riverside. You know, I don't think enough is said. You know, Martelli bringing Evans and Mitchell. If you look at who Fordham brought from UC Riverside as transfers, guys that know the style meshed with guys who know the program can really let you hit the ground run a little bit faster.
Yeah, it allows you to establish your culture and have guys who can amplify the message that you're trying to send.
Tipped away from Djokovic. Reeves went 0-60, drops it off. Jacobs a triple, short.
And those are the opportunities in transition where Fordham has to take advantage of wide open threes.
Yep. This thrown into the backcourt. Lesmond would do well not to touch it. Don't touch it. There it is. Over and back. Lesmond touches that. All of a sudden, you can advance that, Tracy, back across half court.
And you got to think Fordham's bench was yelling at him, hold on, wait, let it be a backcourt violation. We're going to take the ball and go into break as Fordham continuing the battle here. They're down by 13 points with 11:34 left to go in the second half here in Rose Hill Gym.
Of Richmond Rams of the Bronx, Atlantic 10 basketball. Start of February. And the bench points have been the big story for VCU over the course of this season. Sorry, we didn't mean to cover you up there. If you look, typically if your second unit runs this efficiently, you win a lot of games, to the surprise of nobody. Some of that is you go up big on opponents and all of a sudden your bench comes in and grabs a bunch of points. But you've gotten to the point in the season now where averaging 37 points a game from your bench means what you think it does. Aurora Core from downtown, 10-point game. VCU has only gotten 12 from their bench with Hill starting for the first time. So a lot to consider there.
And Fordham now going back to this 2-3 zone very high with Bodija and Aurora Core right by the wings to take that away and also drop back down for the corner threes.
Djokovic, sweeping motion to lay that through. Fordham has not gotten it into single digits in the second half.
And the only problem with the zone is now you leave Schulte on an island 1v1. And GW didn't have Rafael Castro last time out, so they didn't have a post player to go one-on-one. But you see right there, Djokovic has no problems going to that hook shot across the paint.
He's got 8 points, 3 rebounds. Akor. Tracy making it really difficult. Schulte drives in on Djokovic. He's got 7. 5 to shoot. Schulte. Bodija headed to the free throw line. Got hit by Barry Evans. His first foul, 15 foul.
That's Fordham's 9th OREB. Good job by outworking Barry Evans, and Evans doesn't stay vertical. He'll send Bodija to the line for 2.
Only 6 second chance points that they've gained from that. Bodija at the line, 4 boards, and a couple of points tonight. 77% on the year from the charity stripe. Redshirted last year at UC Riverside. Comes off a 5-point game against GW.
And he's one of these players, like Aurora Core. Mike McPile very high on what his ceiling could be when he gets to his best. He's someone that Mike McPile says at some point we can run offense through him, much like they run offense through Rikus Schulte.
10-point game. Have to go back a decade to the last time Fordham has beaten VCU. It's the only time they've ever beaten VCU in 16 tries. Schulte over-aggressive through the back of Djokovic.
And I love the approach from VCU. They know it's a 2-3 zone. As that's the 3rd foul now on Rikus Schulte. He puts a thumbs up, and Mike McPile is going to roll the dice, keep him out there. But I like what VCU's doing. Even though Fordham's in that 2-3 zone, they're not settling for threes. They're looking for that entry pass to Djokovic down low on the block.
Evans, the foul on Bodija. Foul trouble. Schulte's got 3 for VCU. Jennings and Bell each have 3 fouls. Into Tracy. Jennings. As Mon steps out. Approaching the midway point in the second half. Djokovic on the way up. And that's the 3rd on Aurora Core.
And that was good defense from Bodica. He gets up and contests that, but Roracor trying to come over and help to the side, gets too much body contact, and Djokovic, he goes to the line. He's at 8 points, has a chance to get into double figures.
All right. If he misses another, everyone in the gym's getting a free chicken sandwich tomorrow from Chick-fil-A. So, let's see if the swim team's eating for free. No, didn't think so. Djokovic coming off his lowest scoring output in an A-10 game this year. He's just 2-9 from the field. 7 points, 8 boards against Loyola Chicago. He's already outscored that performance tonight. It's stuck on 9. Henry for Fordham still without a field goal, by the way. Not a typical way of winning. That's not it from Bodica. Adrian Tracy dropping, thrown to Djokovic, and he got fouled.
And that's the attention that Hill garners. 3 jerseys come over him, and that allows Djokovic to go right inside on the dive. He gets fouled. And you know what? Going back to Christian Henry, against GW, he rolled his right ankle in the second half, was out for a few minutes before finishing the game. You got to wonder, doesn't look as springy and as quick as normal. So is that right ankle turn, is that still lingering for Christian Henry? Still has 7 assists, so his playmaking isn't bothered, but you're seeing a distinctive hobble there as he goes over to the free throw line.
And by the way, I think that foul was on Henry, not on Bodica. Bodica argued the case, and the officials just chatted about it. I have a feeling they're going to look at that during the break. That's the second on Bodica. He's probably best not to really say much more because it'd be the third on Henry. Sometimes you just got to take a win, my man.
Again, the sacrifices, you got to let your guards stay out there. You need them to get the ball.
Henry puts it up. He'll head to the free throw line where he's done his only damage tonight.
But that looks like the Christian Henry we know, as that's 3 fouls on Hill Jr., on Djokovic, as he's trying to get that post up, and that's what he can do at 6'3", 190. He has the strength. He can post up other guards, and now that puts pressure. Do you want to shrink, collapse on him, or are you going to allow him to work one-on-one with his back to the basket?
Henry has 7 assists, now 3 points. Jacobs comes back in. It'll be Bodica sitting down. So that's 3 fouls on Djokovic, 3 on Jennings, and 3 on Bell.
And they've been their best shot blockers. Jennings and Djokovic have 4 of the 7 blocks tonight for VCU.
We've hovered in this 10 to 12 point game margin for about 2 minutes now.
And I think it's really changed with this zone. VCU hasn't been able to get the good shot selection. They're really trying to get this ball to the middle of the floor.
Jennings comes up the hill, quickly doubled, rolled into the corner. Djokovic got Jacobs in the air, goes toward the rim, and got hit again. He has split his last 2 trips at the line. He's going again. The foul is on Christian Henry. Now he's got his 3rd.
And that's one of the issues with that zone. Akira Jacobs has to close back down, but Djokovic has the ability to put the ball down on the floor. He works the baseline and almost puts a poster on Roracor, but Christian Henry gets tapped with that reach in beforehand.
You can see Djokovic's reaction here. Throws his arms aside like, what more do I need to do? He's a 77% free throw shooter, and he's been quite the tease to the Fordham faithful. It's the 3rd time he's shooting to try and avoid handing out free chicken. And the 3rd time he's waved off the crowd.
It's like newsflash, no Chick-fil-A for you. You're not gonna.
And it's an 11-point game. He is in double figures, though, Djokovic. He's got 11. Jacobs. Schulte. Jennings did well to cover that back cut. Roracor stuck in the corner, 8 to shoot. Henry's got to go to work. Henry puts it up. Tip out, Jacobs spins away, didn't hold on to the ball. Ward goes to the ground, and the arrow goes to Fordham with 8:15 to play here in the second half.
But for VCU's defense, they've done such a great job messing up Fordham's first initial action in half court, which was that fake dribble handoff. Day Reeves can't get open, so now you have to continue going into your second and third. And for Fordham's half-court offense, they just haven't been able to put together a second or a third play within the 30 seconds to get the shot selection it wants. It looks like the moment VCU disrupts that initial set, Fordham is unable to counter or come up with some reversal to get themselves what they want.
By the way, the discussion I think the officials just had was about the shot clock. There it is. So they don't deem VCU ever had full possession of the ball. It means it's 27 to shoot instead of 20. A core, gosh. Tyrell Ward slapped that toward the bleachers.
Partner,
wow.
we haven't seen Roar Acor's shot get blocked. Tyrell Ward has blocked it twice, once from the opposite wing, and he gets the swat here from the corner. Again, the length that VCU has, it's ludicrous. I mean, what they can do, and now another whistle blows. It's another foul will be called on VCU.
And that's the 8th on VCU, so Fordham's going to the line. The foul's on Ward, his first. After Ward had gotten his second block, to your point on that previous possession, the 8th by the team. And a core at the line where he's got 3 points and 3 boards.
This is an ideal circumstance for the next 8+ minutes. You're in the bonus, so you can cut into this deficit with the clock stopped, but you've got to knock them down.
Or you get the offensive rebound. What can you make from it? Akor puts it up, puts it in. Roar Akor from downtown, closest it's been in the second half.
Roar wasn't looking for 2. He was looking for a trifecta, cut this down to 8, and all of a sudden, Rose Hill Gym, the energy has revamped.
Ward inside on Schulta, ripped out of bounds, belongs to Fordham. Last touch by Ward. It was ripped in by Akor and then pulled away by Ward. It'll be Fordham basketball, 7:45 to play in the second half, and suddenly we've got a game. Fordham looking to make it 3 in a row, VCU trying to make it 6. It's an 8-point game. Fordham playing with more confidence over these last few games, and they're starting to find their way against this powerful VCU team.
Yeah, after going 0 for 8 from downtown, they've knocked down 3 of their 7 shots from distance. That's good for 43%, but I would say Fordham has also gone to the line 9 times, so making a concerted effort to get to the rim, get in the paint, and VCU not doing a good job defending without fouling, and that's opened the back door for Fordham. They've cut this down into single digits.
+8 over the last 5 minutes. Let's be honest, for VCU, this would be catastrophic for their hopes of an at-large berth into the NCAA tournament. This is a Fordham team whose net sits 191, 12th in the Atlantic 10. But a VCU team that's been nearly unbeatable at home. We're up by as many as 16 just a few minutes ago, and it's down to 8. Fordham's got the basketball.
And partner, after VCU took 10 threes in the first half, Fordham has thrown more of that 2-3 zone out, but VCU's only taken 4 shots from beyond the arc, so they haven't been as willing to play through the perimeter like we saw in the first 20 minutes.
Reeves gets the ball in on Noel, lost his dribble, back up to Henry. 8 assists despite going 0 of 7 from the field. Back over to Reeves. Got Noel in the air on the shot fake, got inside, tries to lean it up. Schulta, no. Jacobs, yes.
And that was the issue against Loyola Chicago. Nobody boxing out, and you're able to crash that offensive glass, and the size of Fordham finally starting to make their presence felt on the boards.
And Djokovic is feeling something. He's hobbled. VCU playing through it. Ball got tipped. Fordham can run. Schulta over to Henry.
They've got numbers.
Roar Akor for 3. Off the heel, up into the air, pulled in by Hill. And Djokovic is really struggling. You can see he's holding his abdomen and then reaching down to the ground. He spoke to the official a minute ago about potentially, I think, stopping the game to get him out. And in the end, he is going to stay in. Into Bell, high post. Muscles into Schulta, who taps it away and commits the foul. His 4th. Schulta's 4th, the team's 8th, and VCU going to the line 1-1.
Mike McPile rolled the dice, leaving Schulte out there with 3, and now he'll bring a Bodija back in. Taking another look at Bell going after Schulte and partner. That looks like a clean steal from Schulte before anything else, but the officials don't see it that way, and now Rikas has to take a seat on the bench.
And now Bodija needs to play the biggest minutes of his young career if Fordham's going to make something of this game.
And you're hoping a boss can get you to the under 4 timeout. From there, Coach McPile can decide, do I want to bring Schulte back in and allow him to play the rest of the game? But for the next 2+ minutes, Bodija, Jacobs, and Lesmond have to be in sync in the front court to continue this momentum.
Bell hits the front end of 1 and 1, which is something at just 53%. From Richmond in the United Kingdom. Went to Strasbourg in France at 16 years old, pro opportunity, then comes to the U.S. Bell hits both.
And he's gotten hot at the right time. 11 points, shooting 70% from the floor over his last 6 games.
Had 20, a career high against St. Joe's. Comfortably back to 8 for VCU. Jacobs, another harsh screen, gets it back. Jacobs, got it. Akira Jacobs nails a 3, and Fordham suddenly is hit 4 of 9 from downtown in the half.
And Barry Evans has to know the scout. You can't play drop coverage when Akira Jacobs is your assignment. You have to get out there and close out. Jacobs has been shooting over 35% from downtown in A-10 play, and the Fordham faithful won't like that reach in. That's number 4 for Christian Henry.
And Henry saying, hey, keep me in the game. He wants to go, and so he will. That's twice now the Fordham fans thought that they got a clean steal. On the other end, it was Jacobs hitting a 3 to get it down to 5. Closest it's been in about 20 minutes of game time. And Bell back to the line for 1 and 1. Mentioned he's just over 50% on the season. He actually shoots better from three-point land than he does from the free throw line. Missed it. Fordham can make it a 1-possession game. Fordham has held 8 of 9 opponents below their season scoring average by an average of about 8 points a game. They held GW 19 under their season average. VCU averages 84. They've scored 54.
And partner, the pace has slowed down. That favors Fordham.
Reeves, drive, knocked away, belongs to VCU. Evans intervened, and Reeves let that skitter off his dribble hand. Djokovic, who came out a moment ago, is going to come back in.
And for Jennings at 6'4", that length and size against the smaller Day Reeves. Day can usually push through you and create separation, but Jennings doesn't back off, doesn't give up an inch, and that forces Day Reeves to lose that ball. And for Fordham now, that's only 7 turnovers. So VCU's defense hasn't been as disruptive as Phil Martelli Jr. would have anticipated coming into this game.
Djokovic comes back in and does not have to deal with Rikas Schulte, by the way. Instead, it's a Bodija because Schulte's on the bench with the 4 fouls. Long 3, Hill, rimmed out, Evans held it in at the baseline. Bell on the drive, 5 minutes to go. Djokovic gives, here's Hill. Back to Djokovic, down the lane, scoops, didn't go, but back to the line. It's on Roricourt, that is his 4th personal foul.
That's 3 Fordham players now working with 4 personal fouls, and that's a good find by Hill. And how about Djokovic? He was laboring what would seem to be some stomach issues, goes up strong there and draws the shooting foul.
3 of 6. He has hit the front of his last 3 trips. He has missed the back. So you had to know that was going to be good.
Again, spoiler alert for all those out there. We want everyone to have Chick-fil-A, but VCU at the end of the day, they're shooting 75% of the line. So again, that's a tough proposition to ask.
Top third of the A-10. Djokovic 4 of 7 now at the line, hit them both. And it's a 7-point contest.
And partner, if I'm Fordham, I'm trying to get a pick and roll with Akira Jacobs. See if Barry Evans is going to play drop or if he's going to come out to guard the perimeter. If not, you can either attack the paint or kick it out for a wide open 3.
Lesmond got the edge into Jacobs. Jacobs rolls it home.
And that's the second time Barry Evans has gotten lost in the mix. He's ball watching, waiting to see if Fordham's going to use dribble penetration, and he loses Jacobs in the paint.
Evans. Fordham over-rotating. Hill on the slower Lesmond. Now they got Reeves to get a piece of it, right to Lesmond. And Lesmond crosses the timeline with 4:18 to play in a 5-point game.
And I'm just shocked. VCU not playing on the perimeter. They're trying to force that pass in the middle, and that's just not what you need. You're a good three-point shooting team. Find the corners, find the wings.
Reeves rolls it in. It is a one-possession game. And after VCU's 15th turnover, Fordham gets it down to a 56-53 margin.
Day Reeves is up to 17 points. The Fordham Rams have knocked 4 of their last 5 shots. In a good mood using dribble penetration off the steal. Fordham gets out on the break, and Day Reeves blows past Brandon Jennings. It's a one-possession game inside Rose Hill Gym.
Could have gotten out of hand. VCU is up by 16. Fordham has battled back to a 3-point game. Mike Watts, Andrew Posadas. But we take a look back at your keys to the game way back when we started. How does it all compile now?
Well, let's start with Fordham and the home team first. And it was all about controlling the glass and constant paint touches. So far, they've got 30 to 26. They're +4 in points in the paint, and Fordham has battled. They're -7 in the rebounding categories, but they've been more active. They got 12 offensive rebounds. VCU has 13 fast break points. That's well below that average in terms of what they're able to get. Still double figures, but this second half has slowed down. It isn't the track meet that we saw in the first half. Lastly, 14 bench points. That's 24 points less than what this second unit is used to, and putting Hill in the starting lineup may come back to haunt Phil Martelli Jr. if Fordham is able to complete this comeback bid, because you took out your best second unit scorer, brought him into the starting lineup, and now I think it's put a lot more pressure on the rest of VCU's second unit to have to put points up, and it hasn't been the same effect that we've seen throughout this season.
Schulte remains attached to the bench with 4 fouls. Henry as well. VCU brings it forward, up by 3.
Partner, the 2-3 zone out again. Fordham is making it work, and VCU has been unable to find any good threes.
Hill got it inside. Ward against Bodija finds Bell cutting. Got turned away by Jacobs. Hill was an option. Ward on the drive. Back up to Bell. 8 to shoot. Hill against Lesmond. Drives inside. Lesmond got a piece. Back out to the corner. 1 to shoot. Push shot. Didn't go. Put back up. Djokovic got hit. And Fordham has VCU in the double bonus. They're over the limit. And the Rams in black are headed to the line for a pair. Djokovic yet again. There's a reason he is second in the league in attempts and makes at the line.
And again, he's using every inch of that 41.5-inch vertical. And Fordham has who they want around Djokovic with Bodija and Akor. But shout out to Lazar Djokovic. He outworks both of them to get that offensive rebound and draw the foul.
He's made his last 4 at the line. He was 2 of his first 5 from the free throw line. 134 attempts this year. He's made 102. Got both of those. So it is a 2-possession game with 3:29 to play. Fordham has not led. The game has not been tied since 17 minutes remaining in the first half at 4-4.
And Schulte will be in there with the 4 personal fouls.
Over to Roar Akor. He bounced inside the 3-point line to catch the pass. Nearly sniffed out by Ward. Reeves with 10. Game high 17. Up to Jacobs, 5 to shoot. Lesmond got under the basket and used it as protection. Sneak it up under Bell.
And that's the first made basket of the night for Louis Lesmond, who's really have a tough shooting season. But again, being able to take that free baseline drive and good acrobatic finish over Bell.
Fordham in the bonus, VCU in the double bonus. Each team a couple timeouts. Ward stops, back up and in. And Schulte, with the 4 fouls, couldn't lean in.
No choice. Has to try and stay as vertical as possible, and that allows Ward to be as aggressive as he wants to be.
Teams trading baskets down the stretch here in the Bronx. Reeves. Akor into Schulte. Has Bell behind him. clearing space. Schulte spins. And the rebound yanked in by Ward. That was a big defensive stand from VCU.
And now Fordham will need a defensive stand on their own if they want to keep this a two-possession game.
Hill tries to blow by Lesmond into Djokovic. Couldn't get it out to Bell. Instead, across the paint, out to Hill. Fly by Hill. Off the heel. That is a foul on Fordham on the rebound. And it's either Jacobs or a core. It is Jacobs, his first. A core would have fouled out.
And that's just not how you want to close out a possession defensively. If you're Mike McPile, you force Hill to have to move off his initial shot from the wing, step to his left, make it a tougher shot. He misses it, so you get exactly what you want, but unfortunately you're unable to keep VCU off the glass and trying to crash, and instead you get called for the foul. And now huge free throws for Bell.
VCU took 25 seconds off the game clock and headed to the line for two. It's Bell going again. Bell today, 2 of 4. Missed the front end of a 1-and-1. And got neither of those.
So we do get free Chick-fil-A for our faithful out there. How about that?
At the Washington Heights or East Fordham Road location. Reeves flies inside, high off the glass. Brilliant finish. Back to 3, buck 24 to play. Timeout Fordham. Oh, you gotta love Atlantic 10 basketball.
Day Reeves is at his best in crunch time. He loves taking contact and finishing through it. He's trying to tell the official that he thought he was fouled. And right here, how about this by a Bospo DJ? This is almost like a Martian Gortat screen where you're sealing out your defender to give a wide open driving lane to your guard. And Ward can't get off it in time, tries to stay vertical, but that's exactly what Day Reeves wants. And Fordham in the position they want to be within striking distance in the last minute and 24 seconds.
And look, if you're VCU, you're up by 16, that's in the past. You missed 3 free throws from Djokovic, that's in the past. Bell just missed 3 free throws, that's in the past. Get one good offensive possession right here, and it's all in your hands the rest of the way.
And if you're Phil Martelli Jr., you have to expect the 2-3 zone. So if they're going to throw the zone back at you again, if you can't get a clean look inside in the middle, can you get Terrence Hill Jr. a look from 3, maybe a dagger to put in the coffin of Fordham? But if you try and force a pass to the middle, Fordham has shown good active hands in the passing lanes to blow that up.
VCU just 2 of 6 from downtown in the half. And Fordham does come out in that zone once again. Djokovic cutting across Lesmond, who lets him go by. It's Jennings. Back up to Hill. Super scorer, typically super sub. Hill, they've run 20 seconds off the clock. Djokovic outside the arc. The switch onto Reeves. Hill, time running down. He throws it underneath. The dunk doesn't count, but Ward is fouled. And they're going to review, I believe, the contact that occurred after the play to see if that's a flagrant, I would assume, even though it came after the initial whistle.
Yeah, Bospo DJ gets underneath Ward when he's going up for that layup. And how about the pass from Terrence Hill Jr.? He zips that over with the shot clock running down, and now the officials at the scores table to take a look. Ward going up for that layup. That ball gets out of his hands before the shot clock expires, and Bodija undercuts him in the paint. And I think that's what the officials are looking at to see if it's upgraded to a potential flagrant foul.
And they can look at both. So the foul initially wouldn't have counted if the ball had been released or the contact had occurred too late. Ball being released is ultimately irrelevant. The contact is what's vital to whether or not it be a shot clock violation or not. And then any violent conduct after the fact, even if it's not the foul that was actually called, that would be a critical problem for Fordham. They decide to look at that. Yeah, they're just saying it's 2. And Matt Potter's going to come have a chat with us, the outstanding official. So they were checking to see if the shot clock had expired before or after the contact. It is, as you mentioned, contact occurring before the shot clock expired. And so the free throws here for Ward.
And it's a shame because that's a good possession defensively for Fordham. They deny Hill the three-point shot at the wing, but credit to Hill and his playmaking ability to zip that pass, to find Ward, to have that presence of mind with the shot clock running down, that you could still find Ward at the rim. Just phenomenal vision from Hill.
He's at the line for two, missed the first one. Free throws, the Achilles heel. They are 14 of 22, VCU 63%. They average 75%. And Ward this year, only 62%, his first trip to the line.
Partner, they went 24 of 29, 83% in that win against Loyola Chicago.
That was a big one from Ward. Makes it a 4-point game. Under a minute to play. Henry's 0 for the field. Gives it off to Reeves. Leading scorer in the A-10's got 19 to lead all scorers tonight. Reeves pulls it back up top. Henry. Back out to Reeves. Reeves on the drive, got the switch, got the free throws. Basket doesn't count, but it's Djokovic's fourth. And Reeves to the line could cut it down to 2 with 33.2 remaining, meaning Fordham can just try and play defense on the other end.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Day Reeves, his ability to get to the rim, and again, VCU switching, coming back to bite them a bit because with Djokovic just doesn't have the lateral speed to meet Day Reeves at the spot. And now Day in a huge position to cut this to 2, and as you noted, play the next possession out, knowing you might have about 3 seconds, maybe a little more, if you can force a stop.
Reeves 1-1, hits the first. 20-point game for Day Reeves. 3-point game.
The A-10's leading scorer has been that and then some. VCU, even with all of their length and size, still unable to keep Day Reeves at bay.
VCU's got a couple timeouts. Fordham has one. Reeves lines it up, puts it in. Lesmon's going to come back in. Ahmad Noel back on for VCU. They're going to try and shield Schulte with the 4 fouls. Henry has 4 fouls on the floor as well, and Djokovic has 4 for VCU.
And this is a big spot for Jacobs and Accor. Jacobs playing the 5, Rohr at the 4.
Fordham pressing heavily. Hill in the backcourt, lobs it back to Noel. Ball got tipped away, and did they call timeout? They got a timeout. Wow. Reeves goes sprinting in, and Noel called a timeout.
And it felt like the way Noel walked, almost lackadaisical, was very just nonchalant. But you can tell right here, looking for it, and Day Reeves gets that ball from the back, able to pop that out. But they're going to get the timeout before that happened. But it did seem like Noel was very much cautiously going towards his bench to see if Phil Martelli Jr. wanted to call timeout.
It was 10 years ago that Fordham hit the late game winner, a very rare happenstance against VCU all time. Less than 10 times in their history have they lost at all zeros on the scoreboard. Antoine Anderson hitting the long 2 in overtime. And VCU a chance to either put this away right here, or Fordham might have a chance to go recreate history a decade later.
And you were on the call for that game. Might we see some magic again with Mr. Mike Watts doing play-by-play?
I hope I've got a better call than the last one.
Well, we'll see what the Fordham Rams give you here. They've got a chance to get a stop. Now, again, it's 2.5 seconds in between shot and game clock. So do you want to play the possession out, or do you want to play the free throw game knowing that VCU right now 68% from the line?
It's actually over 3 seconds because we don't see the decimal on the shot clock. Thrown ahead, they found Djokovic. Lesmond got Djokovic, but got his arm. Djokovic back to the line where he started up and down, but has been rock solid since.
And like we saw in the previous possession, Fordham putting pressure in the backcourt, but VCU able to break it, get it to Djokovic, and now 2 huge free throws to keep this game from being a 1 possession.
At the line for 2, he's 7 of 10 today. 8 of 11, three-point game. If you make another one here, Fordham with one timeout, they'll probably try and get a quick basket and then foul again. Timeout, they're going to use it right now, Fordham. And if you're VCU, 9 team fouls, Fordham would be in the double bonus. I don't know that you'd be fouling on this possession, but if you do play the free throw game and keep it at 3-4 points, probably start contemplating doing that yourselves.
And I think with the men's game, unlike the women's game, you get a timeout where you can reset and get into the other side of the court. That's not the case here in the men's game, which is why Mike McPile's using the timeout now, able to set up what they want to do back to back, offensively, defensively. And from there, you got to let the chips fall where they may. But for VCU, you're Phil Martelli Jr., knowing that Fordham, as you noted, in the double bonus, it doesn't hurt you to say, hey, guys, we can't give up any threes. If you see someone getting ready off a pick and roll, off a DHO to raise up, foul them on the floor first. We don't want Fordham to have a chance to hit a three, and then even if we make 2 free throws, it's still a three-point game.
So Djokovic will have one more at the line. And if VCU makes this free throw, it'll be a 2-possession game. If they miss, Fordham will have a chance to tie it at the horn. We were last tied 17-25, make it 17-45, remaining in the first half at 4-4.
Partner, I'm wondering if Mike McPile thinks he maybe can ice Djokovic a bit. Give him a few minutes, think about it, the gravity of the situation. If he misses this, then all bets are off. And if you're Fordham, you're going right back out to see if you can get yourself that game-tying three. And if you're VCU, your only objective is to send Fordham to the free throw line and not give them that open look.
Djokovic started 2 of 5 at the line. He's hit his last 6. Vital free throw for VCU to make it a 2-possession game. Got it. So it is a 4-point game. Fordham just trying to get this in. Henry, Fordham's out of timeouts. They called 5 seconds before the timeout. Fordham's out of timeouts. Henry didn't know it.
And that's the issue with having Christian Henry be your inbounders. It's got to be someone, a wing, one of your forwards, so that you have 2 options, whether it's Day-Day Reeves or whether it's Christian Henry. You have 2 options that you can get the ball to on the inbounds. But for Christian Henry, nobody's there. VCU is playing that press right now. Barry Evans is on the ball. Day-Day Reeves gets taken out of this equation by Brandon Jennings, and that, unfortunately, Christian Henry can't get it to Louis Lesmond or Rora Core in the middle of the floor, and he calls timeout inexplicably. Again, great job by VCU on their press, but Christian Henry can't be the one to take that inbounds. You need both of your guards on the court to receive that ball. That's got to either be Lesmond or a Core taking that out from the baseline.
Now, the initial 5-second call from the baseline official, I think, got overruled. They did give the timeout, which Fordham does not have. So VCU is going to go to the free throw line to shoot technical free throw here. It will be Fordham ball coming out of it, so at least they don't lose possession on it. And Hill's going to go to the line, a chance to potentially ice this.
Yeah, unfortunately, VCU can pick whoever they want, and Hill shoots 89% from the free throw line.
Not that time. Wow. Talk about dodging a bullet. So Fordham gets the ball back and no pain from an illicit timeout.
It's just been a tough shooting night for Hill. 2 of 7 from the floor, 2 of 6 from 3, and now that missed technical free throw, which keeps Fordham in it.
Unreal. 9 missed free throws from VCU. They can't, thrown out of bounds by Henry. It's with VCU now. Twice Fordham couldn't get it in from the baseline.
And I understand having your best playmaker be the inbounders, but you're taking away an option in Christian Henry, someone who can get that ball, and now you've got 2 primary ball handlers out there. That's not the case, and unfortunately, now it's resulted in 2 crucial errors from Fordham that's really slammed the door shut on a potential comeback bid.
Thrown underneath, Noel. You got to foul him now. Reeves trying to get his hands on him. He finally did. Third foul on Day Reeves, and they'll send Ahmad Noel to the line where he is a 77% proposition, which hasn't meant a whole heck of a lot tonight.
Yeah, VCU certainly left points off the table. They missed 9 free throws tonight.
10. Unbelievable. VCU trying as hard as they can to give Fordham a chance in this game.
Now, if only Fordham can get a clean inbounds in order to put up a shot.
0 for 2 at the line. Shocking. Not a lot of time. You got to get a shot up. Reeves spots 3. No. Tip up didn't go. Clock running out. That's it. VCU escapes. They're up by 16, and they end up walking away with a 4-point win. VCU have won their 6th in a row in the Atlantic 10. And that is victory from the jaws of attempted defeat.
Again, it was dicey in the second half. Fordham surging forward to try and make a comeback, but unfortunately VCU, aside from the missed free throws, still able to close the deal. And for Fordham, some critical turnovers in spots that you couldn't have. We'll be back after the break with a post-game interview with Phil Martelli Jr. after VCU's win over Fordham 63-59.
VCU defeats Fordham 63-59. Gave you heart palpitations down the stretch, but the Rams of Richmond have won 6 in a row in A-10 play. And Phil Martelli Jr. joins us here courtside postgame. Mike Watts, Andrew Posadas. How you feeling? Heart slowing down finally a little? I hope.
No, I'm good. I mean, you know, we got, for the most part, when we got shots, we got the right shots. We just didn't convert, you know, in the second half, and we did what we had to do to come out with a win. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't the way we drew it up. But this time of year, February, a win is a win, so we'll take it.
Coach, Fordham did everything they could in the second half to complete a potential comeback bid. What did you like about your team's composure in crunch time, that when you guys needed to make plays, you were able to seal the deal?
Yeah, I mean, the belief was there. It was never, there was never a doubt that we were going to, in the huddles, the talk was good and the energy was good. We just, it's a game where we didn't make free throws and we turned the ball over. 2 things that have not hurt us. Yeah. What are we in, 23 games? Those things haven't been a problem in 22 previous games. So just one of those nights, and they made some shots down the end and got it back close.
Terrence Hill, one of the best scorers in the conference. You start him for the first time tonight. Just walk us through that decision-making process and then how you feel he attacked the game tonight.
Yeah, Nick Lewis, who typically starts, was a little banged up. He was cleared to play, but we had kind of said, if we could make it through without him, we would hold him just to give him an extra day of rest. So it was really just that.
Coach, this was a clash of styles between what you guys do best, up-tempo, and Fordham being the more methodical team. What were your impressions of the tempo of this game, and how do you think your guys did going up against that slower pace that Fordham brings?
Yeah, we handled the slower pace. We didn't get it. We had it in stretches, like in the first half, where we were able to get it to our pace. In the second half, we weren't able to. Again, like you get the lead and maybe you tighten up a little bit, but, we got to be able to continue to play with our pace, in the second half there.
And then down the stretch, a couple missed free throws by a couple different players, but in the end, Djokovic hit some critical free throws, and you guys convert in important moments in that last 2 minutes. I know it went from 16 to 3, but you have to appreciate the resolve there at the end to actually get the job done.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, like I said, it's about winning right now, right? You got to go get wins, and a tough game on the road, a team that's playing very well, that is extremely well coached, by Mike. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and I expected it more to be like this than I did the 13 or whatever it was at halftime. This was the kind of game I expected. I just wish we could have continued doing what we did, through the second half.
And before I let you go, I'd be remiss not to ask, it must be cool having your dad behind the bench.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's awesome to have him there and, reverse the roles. I sat in those bleachers and watched him and lived and died with every dribble, up there. And now he gets to do it. So
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Coach, appreciate the time.
You guys. Thank you.
Congrats on the win,
Thank
Coach.
You. Appreciate you.
Thanks again.
Phil Martelli Jr. and VCU take their 6th consecutive victory in Atlantic 10 play. They remain 3rd in the Atlantic 10. Got big showdown coming with Dayton. Saw the highlights already. Let's show you the stats as we close it out here tonight, Andrew. Look, VCU said it. We don't do a lot of turning the ball over, killing us. We typically make our free throws. in the end, despite VCU nearly fumbling the bag, they do get it over the line.
Yeah, and if you're Fordham, you'll be kicking yourself. You forced 15 turnovers, but you only had 14 points off of those mistakes from Phil Martelli Jr. and his squad. And if you talk about paint points, Fordham had 34, but VCU right there at 28, and then rebounds. +8 for VCU, who came in with the smaller front court, but they didn't play small, played big, played athletic, and they were the ones controlling the glass tonight.
And in the end, VCU shuts the lights off at the end as Christian Henry, who had 8 assists in this game, but failed to hit a field goal, unable to get the inbound with a chance to maybe shave it down to a one-possession game or potentially tie at a 3-point game there in the final seconds.